Are Malcolm McDowell and Edward Hibbert. The two of you were just working together in a show.
We bonded. We bonded
Did it
doing
hit
a
these
series.
airwaves here?
I believe it's going to.
Oh, well,
it's
we're
about
waiting for the kahuna.
Yes, we pray at 3 in the
on.
morning so nobody watches it.
And did you two know each other before, or did you meet it?
Apparently, I was told by Mr. Hibbert here that we did a film together.
Britannia Hospital.
Yes,
I was told, you don't remember it?
No, I don't remember. Look,
This is going
excuse
back.
me. Can I just please finish?
Of course,
For one
please,
moment.
please.
I'm going to have flags that come down.
Apparently, Mr. Hibbert was wearing a surgical mask.
I was.
As I was on the operating table looking up at 15 surgeons, 15 pairs of eyes. You'll excuse me for not picking out yours, won't you?
At that point in my career, I wasn't playing characters who had names. It was anxious doctor. For the first few years in England, when I got television work, it'd be like edgy man at airport, or man with nervous ticket cocktail party, and in Britannia Hospital, this is the movie I did with him, I spent 3 rather memorable days looking at him lying completely naked on an operating table.
Yes.
So my first knowledge of you was looking at your penis for, I think, 3 days of shooting. Am I right?
How thrilling you must have been.
Eat, because it's
Yes.
not there
Oh,
for
thank
prop
you.
food.
Oh,
We
really?
paid a lot of money for that. Otherwise, the next guest get it.
Delicious. Well, now you should talk because my mouth is full.
Well, I'm wearing this shirt, this lovely shirt. I shall now unveil it as a homage to the delightful
We're
experience
leaving
we
your
had
career.
last
Can
year.
you feel? Can you
No,
feel?
we're not leaving
No, we'll
his
come
career.
back. We'll come back.
I'm thrilled to leave it.
No, we'll come back and revisit throughout.
But anyway, this is the homage to the show.
A
The
Fantasy
cheesy show,
Island.
yeah.
Yes.
Originally it starred Ricardo Montalban and a midget. And
You played Ricardo.
He was
I played
Ricardo, and they made the midget taller, 5'11", an Armani-wearing manservant. Nobody quite understood what I was playing on this show, a mysterious concierge who ran the hotel. And it was supposed to be a dream job. What can be bad? Malcolm McDowell and a glamorous, high-budget series on ABC television in Hawaii.
Were you hoping for the best, or did you know this
We
was
all
destined
wanted it
to
to
be
be
the
good.
next Hiroshima?
No, I honestly thought it would be a very, very good show because the pilot was
The
brilliant.
pilot was wonderful.
Really?
They spent $7 million on
On a pilot?
a pilot.
We did the pilot,
We all
and
did
then,
them.
as all American TV shows, you shoot the pilot, you wait to see if it's going to get picked up or not, and we got picked up for 13.
And then the script suddenly...
And it went from this wonderful
Is a
kind of
floater.
dark, it was Twin Peaks-ish, you know what I'm saying? It was very dark and humorous and funny, and then they brought in some people who decided they were going to write it like it was Murder, She Wrote with a Polynesian background. And dear Malcolm really earned every one of the not insubstantial amount of dollars that he was paid to play Mr. Rourke. The scenes would begin every week with the guests arriving,
On the pier.
and the dialogue would be things like, I'd go, "Good Lord, Mr. Rock, who's this getting off the plane?" And after 2 weeks, Malcolm would be going like, "Another 3 dreary guest stars who come in from Los Angeles."
Being paid full money on full per diems, staying at that dreadful hotel.
6
and here
round
we go.
trips for their friends and lovers. And this dialogue was so hideous, and as it went on, we decided we have to add a little humour into it. So Malcolm would have these reams of expository dialogue, like, "I'm glad you asked who this is, Harry. This is Mr. and Mrs. Schmo. Mrs. Schmo has got 6 daughters."
You just made this up.
This is what it was, and this
No,
is the take.
this-
When we got near the
I
end,
had to learn all this crap.
and he had to learn it was like not anything worth saying, and he was making it sound so magical and interesting. He'd go, one week he'd go, "Mrs. Schmo has got 6 daughters. Mr. Schmo has always wanted to have a boy." And I just went, "Haven't we all? But what's his fantasy?" And cut! And Mark would be like, "That's the only funny line on the fucking show."
Keep it in.
I'm telling you, I want to write a memoir because the one Hawaiian word I could bear to learn is mahola, which for those of you out there who don't know Hawaiian means thank you. And the journal will be Edward Hibbert, mahola for nothing, a season in paradise. All the hopes for the show began, it was going quite well, and then even the locals started to hate it. One of the director's wives came out to visit and brought her 2 adorable children, and she wanted to take them to a church to see how the Hawaiians give thanks. And she reports that she's there, and a nice local lady turns to her and says, "Oh, you have lovely children. Are you here on our island on holiday?" And she said, "No, actually, I'm here because my husband here is a TV director." "Oh, TV director. Good. What's he doing?" And she went, "Fantasy Island." And the woman went, "Fantasy Island? Oh, fuck, that's a dodge." Now, when the locals start,
Yeah.
you know,
You're in trouble.
You're in big trouble.
And how were you told that you were shutting down? I mean, did you know the end was nigh? Did the Hawaiians start
you know where I
doing
was
anything?
when I heard.
We were hoping.
Do you get paid?
Oh, yes.
It's a buyout.
Very well.
So artistically, how on a scale from 1 to 10, are you
Artistically, what was it like?
no, artistically,
About a
are you
2.
thinking my career's now really hit the toilet?
No,
Not at
no. I didn't
No,
think that
we
at
keep
all.
our
Because in
heads
America,
held
as
high.
long as it's going.
And there were some strange people who wrote and said they really enjoyed it. You know,
The
I keep those
incredible
letters.
thing is, you do 13 shows. I mean, people go, "Wow, that is such a. What's it like to be in such a failure?" And you say, "Well, they only did 15 of Fawlty Towers."
That's right.
That's
I mean,
an answer.
What are we talking about?
And then my idea of how the hour-long show is also very hard work. You know, it's like not like doing a half-hour show where you're in at 11 to rehearse and you're out by 3. You know, 4 o'clock wake-up calls. My idea of hell was the AD calling up going, "Hi, Ed, your call tomorrow is 4 a.m. at the Cunnilingi Gardens or something," you know, and you'd be there for hours in the middle of nowhere.
It's not for you.
Now, I realized something about myself very seriously. I'm not an island boy. Manhattan is my island. Does anyone know who John Ho is
No,
here?
who is that?
He had one hit, Tiny Bubbles, a song, Tiny Bubbles. That is the only culture on the island. And I'm standing at the box office going, do I kill 2 more hours in Hawaii going to see the Don Ho show? And he comes on, he's the star. The supporting act was a ventriloquist with an unfunny little doll with a grass skirt, and his mouth would move. I mean, deeply unfunny. But the one in the box office goes, "You gotta come see Don Ho. Come to Hawaii and not see Don Ho. It's like going to Disneyland and not seeing Mickey Mouse." And I thought I'd rather be in Disneyland seeing Mickey Mouse.
And do you two meet in New York now to discuss?
We haven't met.
Well, we meet in L.A. He was there for my birthday last week.
Yes.
How old were you, Edward?
What age
Be fun,
am I?
wouldn't
Is
it?
it really important? Not really.
No, we
Not
won't
really.
even.
I think I'm ageless. I'm like the Peter Pan.
Especially with the
Of equity.
as long as the roots are covered.
Yes,
we
that's
will
exactly
never know.
right.
But you've let your hair go in a kind of
Well,
submission.
I've had all mine shaved off, but
for
making
work
a bit of a
reasons.
comeback.
You
Yes,
have to
for
say
work
it.
reasons. But I don't want. I
I
wouldn't
mean, was
colour
it
mine.
difficult because you were like the boy? You know what I mean? You were like
Right.
the angry child.
So of course, if I'm going to go
White.
prematurely grey,
Well,
white,
it could be groovy, kind of, you know, punk rocker
no,
too.
I'm so happy to look my age because I was always younger than I looked, you know. So younger than I was, rather. But
You mean you were faking it when you were young? I mean, you were.
well, when I did
already
it,
old?
for instance,
Yeah.
which
How old were you?
I was playing a schoolboy of 16. I was 24.
Oh, right. Okay.
So, and then for the next 20 years, I was offered schoolboy parts. And you go, "Excuse me, what's this?" You know. So I was so delighted to be really a grown-up, you know. So.
But the
That's right,
English in
that's
Hollywood
true.
are cast as villains, butlers, or homosexual hairdressers. Those are the only things
And your
you
day
play.
has come.
Yeah, exactly.
What are you on, Frasier?
Actually, none of the above.
What are you?
Rather effete restaurant critic called Gil Chesterton.
What's the question everybody asks you that really pisses you off?
I suppose it's always something about Clockwork Orange, you know, that so boring after all this time. But of course, having said that,
But
you
I
know-
got very drunk with you and went on for 1 hour and a half in a restaurant.
Yeah, that's right.
Even, I think, acting some of your lines to my horror on the floor. Because I was so overexcited.
It was a blessing and a curse, you know, all at once. It was such a great part to do with such a great director and all that, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
And it was such an extraordinary piece of writing from Anthony Burgess, and to play this extraordinary part.
You think if it wasn't like, he banned it, right? Kubrick banned it? You think if he didn't ban it, it would have had a different impact?
No, because, you know, England is only 3%
I
anyway.
know,
Who
because
cares?
in America, we were watching it on a loop tape.
In America, it plays on cable all the time.
We prayed to Clockwork Orange, I told you.
Exactly,
I used to
yeah.
go every Friday night, and I'd watch
Yeah.
it in different positions, because it was
Yeah.
before I had sex. So some days it would open and I would be
It wasn't
on my...
that long ago, surely.
Minutes. Minutes.
For me, of course, it was a great, great part and a great experience, and I loved it and hated it, mainly because of Stanley was such a complex, extraordinary man, you know, and all that. And we became very, very close. Of course, I couldn't have done it.
Was it
without-
like a daddy?
No, no, it wasn't like Daddy. It was like an elder brother, maybe, or something. But I used to tease him terribly because I couldn't take all this seriously, this You know, I remember going in, he had these earphones on in his living room, and I went into it, he went, shh. And he was like this for like 20 minutes.
While you're filming?
No, this is during a break. And I thought, he must be listening to one of the versions of Beethoven's Ninth, you know, and I'm dying to listen to it, which one he's going to pick, the Von Karajan or whatever it was. And he's listening away, and at the end, about 20 minutes, he took the earphones off, looked up at me, and I'm going, and he went, there's been another near miss at Heathrow Airport. I went, what? He went, I've got the controllers here, the traffic controllers. He went, and back he went for another 20 minutes.
He listened to like the
Yes.
radar speak?
Yeah.
Because he was upset. Oh yeah, because he never wanted to
Obsessed
fly.
with flying. He had a private pilot's license. So I just think that there was a great paranoia about anything like that, you know, being out of control. I just think that Stanley, he would love to do without actors, you know, in his films, because that was the only element that he
Did
couldn't
he direct
really
actors?
control.
I've always read about how he never actually did
Not
talk
really.
actor language.
Well, then what
didn't.
did he say?
Huh?
What would he say?
He'd just say, do it again. You'd go, oh, and he would just do it again. So you do it again.
But how do you know which way to go?
You don't.
Right, you're
So
just
you
winging
just do it again. How was that, Stan? Do it again? Do it again. Okay.
You think he didn't know what he wanted?
No, he never knew what he wanted, but he knew what he didn't want. So it was a very long process of elimination.
And who thought, like I know in that rape scene, which I adored, that the image in your mind was that of Eric Morecambe?
No.
Like the comedy you were bringing to it?
That-
I mean, it was funny.
Yes, no, the rape scene was, I based a lot of the part on Eric Morecambe, actually, because he was the comic of the day, and he was very influential, but he influenced me a lot in the scene eating the spaghetti when they come in and at the writer's house, and I'm sort of answering questions and suddenly begin to enjoy it, like he's an important, suddenly the spotlight's on Alex, you know, and he suddenly starts to enjoy it. That's very Eric Morecambe-ish, you know. But no, the scene, the rape scene, which is Singing in the Rain, of course.
Your
is,
idea, I think, wasn't it? Singing in the
yes,
Rain?
but obviously it's Gene Kelly and.
Sure, I know Gene, but Gene didn't say someday this is going to be a great scene for a rape.
No, Gene didn't. In fact,
I
I
mean,
met
was
him at a party in Hollywood, and he cut me
What was his
dead.
Cut you dead?
Cut me dead.
I
and I
bet.
went.
You defiled my
But
have.
it was
You
in
urinated on
homage
his
to you. It was a homage, you know.
But that song has never been the same since the movie, of
No,
course.
never.
Thought of very
yeah,
differently.
maybe not. It was fun. It was a great.
So what
thing.
was written? I mean,
Well, the thing is, no, what was written is the boys just come in and smash the thing and rape, you know, it wasn't really written. So Stanley actually keyed it by saying after 5 days of sitting there, changing the furniture, doing nothing, you know, absolutely nothing.
but you haven't even
Which-
acted yet? You're
no.
just doing like restyling?
No, it wasn't working, so we all just sat down. He moved the crew out to the garden. They put a tent up in the lawn in the house, and that was it. We got rid of them, and we just had a stunt man or two, and we just, you know, go through it. And then he came over to me on the 5th day, I think, and he said, "Can you dance?" And I said, "Absolutely, anything." You know, I was so bored by this time. I started to dance, and I'm singing in the rain, wallop, just singing.
Oh, so you thought of it?
Well, yes, I thought of it, but it was an intuitive. And what else was there? Because in my mind, Alex is at his most euphoric, and the most euphoric image Hollywood ever gave us was Singing in the Rain, Gene Kelly on swinging around that lamppost and sloshing through that water, wasn't it? So it
Well, it
became.
totally makes the scene. I
Because
mean,
as soon as
it's sort of
Stanley
whole
saw
chilling
it,
humour to
though, he went, he burst out laughing, grabbed hold of me, put me in his car, he drove to his house, and he was on the phone to New York. He bought the rights to Singing in the Rain. I think he paid $10,000 for 30 seconds.
Wow.
And how long did that scene take to shoot? Because he's notorious
Over a
for-
week.
A week?
Wow.
Yeah. And we kept breaking the cane. I said, "I'm singing the rain." Whack. And I had to hit this pad on this woman's arm, you know, and I had to be very careful not to hit anything else. And so they were made of balsa wood. They'd splinter and shatter. And I go, "Look, Stanley, I'll have to pull the shot." "No, it'll look terrible. Yeah, we'll have to get this right." So then they made them of rubber with a steel core, you know, like a piece of iron in the middle. And I go like this, and they go, "Yeah." Or they bend. So, yeah, that was quite interesting. The prop man got fired. I think we went on to 3 prop men after that.
Wow. Well, who thought of the nose then?
Oh, that was
looked
him.
That was
him.
brilliant too.
Brilliant.
But
scary.
was it true that he made you, when you were sick, take a shower, and you were feeling really shitty? Is this?
Yes, he did. He did all that. Yeah, he did. He managed to.
What was the story? You like
I got my ribs broken. You know,
from another scene?
Because actually, yes, another scene. The actor, I was supposed to lick this, you know, the boot. He said, lick my shoes.
Right.
And then the voiceover is, and would you believe this, your humble narrator and friend stuck out his mile-long yazzik to lick his Grasny Vonny boot. Or some wonderful words. And
what was the name of that language? You know, the Burgess wrote.
Nadsat. Brilliant.
Brilliant.
Well, you see, Burgess was brilliant.
Spot on in the books.
And he was never allowed on the set, you know. I suppose that's probably a good thing. So anyway, I broke he said to the actor, look, you've got to push hard on his chest. I mean, that looks ridiculous. So he goes, lick my, right through my rib cage. So I went off to get an X-ray, couldn't see anything. Then you're okay to work. I went, I can barely move. I don't know what it is. Anyway, I went on for 2 days like this. I said, I'm sorry, I can't move. Rushed to the doctor, and they went, my God, you've got a blood clot under your lung. So they big needle right through the rib cage. Thank you very much. And yes, you've cracked it, but there's nothing we can do. So I have 2 weeks for that, 2 weeks off, which he stopped my pay. Get this.
Get out of here.
Yeah, he was like that. And yes,
you're going to break a rib. You're going to suffer.
I had a terrible virus. I couldn't. My voice was gone, and we were, you know, shooting, and I was off for 2 weeks. In fact, he called me up. He said, "How do you feel, Malcolm?" After about a week, and I said, "You know, Stanley, I'm feeling so much better." He went, "Don't come back." I went, "What? I can work tomorrow." No. We're not quite ready for you. Keep it going. You know, keep the insurance company paying. So eventually, I got back to work, and I said, "Look, Stan, you know, I've had this virus, this terrible thing in my throat. You know, antibiotics wouldn't cure it. I've got to be careful that not." He said, "Well, you've got this, you know, it's supposed to be wet through. I have to put you in the shower, and there's no hot water, so I'm afraid it's going to be cold." I went, "Oh, really?" He said, "You'll have to just get under the shower in a suit, freezing water, right?" And I said, "Well, I'll do it, but as long as we go right on." He said, "No problem." I said, "So will you tell me at the last minute when to get in the shower?" He goes, "Yes." "Get in now. Get him in." I stand underneath the shower, freezing in this suit, come out, squelching like this, and I'm waiting by the door, waiting. And they go, "Stanley, are we ready?" Waiting. I went, "Where's Stanley?" They went, "Where's Stanley?" "Oh, he went out to look at another location." I went, "That son of a bitch, he must have done it on purpose."
So how long were you in there for?
He left. I had to get changed, dried out. And, you know, there was no heating in the house, nothing. So, of course, when he came back, I went for him. I just went for him.
What, the full?
The full, I had my hands around his neck, I think, and he was like, I said, "You son of a bitch." I told him, you know, it was the big row we had.
Why do people like working with him so much?
Huh?
Why do people like working with this guy so much?
You know, of course, listen,
But do you think it was the final, assault when he says, "I want to pull this movie"? I mean, that must be like having your organs removed. You know, you put all your juice in it, and then suddenly the director himself says, "I want it off the market." I mean, you can't get more insulting.
I
didn't take it personally, frankly.
But why was this done? I mean, I don't even know the background on this. Why was it pulled?
I don't know why he removed it, because I never talked to him really about it. But I'm told...
Did you ever talk to him, period?
I talked to him 15 years ago. And I regret it, actually. And it was, you know, it was a 50-50 situation. I mean, I could have called him up any time, but I decided not to, because I just thought that he behaved so badly. And, you know, when you work with somebody that closely for over a year, you expect them to, you expect something.
Yeah.
You know, you expect not to be cut off.
So after Clockwork Orange, that was it?
That was it.
Wow.
I'd served my purpose, and that was it, as far as he was concerned. And I was really upset and disappointed that he did that.
Is that when you went to America after that?
No, I went to America in '79 to do a film called Time After Time about H.G. Wells running through time.
I remember this, too.
Yeah, running through time, after chasing David Warner as Jack the Ripper.
Oh, that's right.
Yes, that's right.
And
What made you do that film?
I'd walked on as in David Warner's Hamlet at Stratford. I was sort of third minstrel from the left or something, and lowering a coffin, you know, Ophelia's coffin.
So you were the surgeon to see
Yes,
how like life
exactly,
works like
exactly.
that? And did you say, remember me as the guy lowering the coffin?
Oh no, David remembered me because
you?
we were friends. I always liked David, and we were friends, and you know, there was a lot of giggling going on at Stratford, of course, just to keep the interest going. He would always, you know, come looking at me.
Did you
trying
hate
to get
being
me
at Stratford?
Of course, I hated the work, but I kind of loved being there because we had
like summer camp.
Exactly.
And who was in the company with you?
Yeah, who'd you
apart from
sleep with?
David?
Oh, everybody.
With someone
Everybody.
But who it was at Stratford?
Dinah Rigg
Yeah.
was there. The one that I loved, David Warner and Ian Holm, who was
Right.
stunning as Henry V. One of the great actors, one of the great performances, I thought, anyway. And they did they had the history cycle of Henry IV, Part 1 and Part 2. But the whole thing was, I don't remember a thing about it. The only thing I remember about Stratford was trying to corpse, in other words, trying to make other people laugh.
Which you're famous for.
And them trying to make me laugh. So you'd come up with the most extraordinary things to make people laugh. Because honestly,
There's nothing to do.
There's nothing to
No.
do. Once you've done these things, the
You've
excitement's
lowered
out
one
of
coffin, you've lowered them all.
it. That's it. And you know what?
and for 60 pounds a week, you ain't putting out.
Exactly. I mean, so to just keep the interest
So
going.
what was your greatest
So, you know,
corpse?
there was a fair that came through Stratford, and, you know, I won a couple of goldfish. And so and of course, the drinking goblet got passed around, you know, my lord. And there were 2 goldfish swimming around in it. And Brewster Mason, who was quite a formidable, would take the goblet, look in it. And with, yes, my lord. Next one, you know. So that was fun. But the best one, the best of all, was Ian Holm was the best at getting people because he was so subtle.
Yeah.
And I remember doing a scene with him. I had played his younger brother, the Duke of whatever, Clarence or something. And I remember looking at him. He had all the dialogue. I think I only had 3 lines. And I could see this twinkle in his eye, and I knew that he was doing something, but I didn't know what. And suddenly my eye went down to his feet, and I noticed he had his upstage foot an inch off the stage. So he was standing on one foot, which made me bellow with laughter because it was so brilliant.
Very small. Very minimalist.
Small.
Minimalist corpse.
And, you know, he knew, he was telling me through his eyes, find it. And so I was looking everywhere to find it. I was looking around the stage, and suddenly I saw it. And when I saw it, I had to turn away because I was gone.
When do you go to Hollywood? Because I'd like to know, you're both, is it expats when you leave this country? Yeah.
Yeah, expats.
Yeah. Both of you, like, left these
I never
shores.
wanted to go to L.A. It was never a plan of mine. I decided, as I had been born in New York, I wanted to go back and see the place I had been born, as I was whisked back to England when I was 2 years old. And so...
Whisked because of what?
Whisked what? Because why was I
Whisked?
born
Was there a gust? What?
No, they just took me
You can't
back.
just throw these words up and we go, yes,
no,
we
But I mean,
understand.
I didn't grow up there. I was born in New York and then brought back to grow up in England at the age of 2. So I suddenly thought, I want to go and see New York. I was born there. I have an American passport. I want to at least have the experience of going there.
Where were you born?
In Kew Gardens, Queens. Imagine if I'd stayed, I'd have that nice, thick New York accent. No, I was there because my father had gone over to do a little musical called The Boyfriend with an unknown 19-year-old girl called Julie Andrews. And said to my mother, you know, don't come over because New York is brutal. The show could be off in a week. And the show was a huge hit. She became a star. And so my mother came over and joined. And
I've got struggles.
and so I was born as a result of that show. And then later, when I
He
got
was
back
born
to New York, because of The Boyfriend being a hit, and so my mother came over
What,
and
he
joined
wouldn't
him.
have inseminated your mother if The Boyfriend wasn't a hit? Do you see, if you
No,
don't
she
pick
didn't
up on
come
it,
out.
these things can just
No,
float
no,
over.
she was going to not come out, but then
Right.
when the show was a hit, she
Clearly
came out
her
to be with
ovums
him.
were in the same neighborhood.
Totally.
Okay.
And then I assumed years later when I got back to New York, everybody had heard of The Boyfriend, this musical comedy. So I'd go and meet people, and they'd say, so how can you work in America, Edward? And I'd go, my father came over here with a boyfriend in the 50s. And they'd be like, So anyway, I came back, and I did think, this is an amazing city. And I still do. And so I just kind of went over to New York on a kind of whim and stayed for, I don't know, 12 years. And I had, you know, we're in New York, danger, violence, and I thought it's a very friendly city. I'm loving it here. There's an energy. It's kind of gritty, and you can walk from one block of beautiful architecture, suddenly you're in a ghetto, but that's part of the appeal of it. And I was saying to all my friends back in England, New York is not a difficult place. It's wonderful. Within a week, I'm on a bus, a cross-town bus, and a woman gets on, clearly very disturbed, but in an articulate way. I mean, she's ranting, but it's things like, which make no sense, like she goes, "Take your vitamins, mama, you're a nurse because you're wearing white shoes." And I thought, what are we doing here now? And on she went, and there's a whole bus of people who do what anyone would do. They go, "I don't want to deal with it." I get very interested in my paperback book or my newspaper, and she zones right in on me, and she goes, "You're the one. You're the one. You killed John Lennon!" So I thought, this is where one's going to become very English. It's always a good idea. And polite. So I leant forward and I went, "I'm awfully sorry I wasn't in town that weekend." But that wasn't any good at all.
No,
she went, "I am the executioner's daughter and I've got a knife." And she did, a rather sharp one, which she whisked out of her bag. And before I know what's happening, she is lunging at me with this knife. The bus driver couldn't care less. Next up, Grand Central. Everybody else is flicking for their New York Times. And I found this adrenaline I didn't even know I had, as anybody does when they're in a position of fear. And I lunged and pushed her back into her seat. And it's amazing the kind of uncharacteristic things you say when you're in a state of dire emergency. I heard myself saying, "Now you cool it, sister."
Oh, very
I've never said a line like that before. I thought, that's it.
And
How
she
New
did.
York am I? And
Yeah.
she did. And she got off with her
She was
knife.
looking up where that line came from. She knew it was from
So I was
somewhere.
rather impressed with that. But then I have to say, in the, what is it now, how many years? On and off about 12 years of being there, I have never been mugged. I have never had a problem. Just that one little brush with a knife.
Soupçon.
Superstar. I mean, mad people talk to me all the time, but I just taken that as
Who
part
is
of
the
my
maddest
course.
person you've met in your trips to America?
Bob Guccione.
Can we just, I am, by the way,
All
can I
right,
say, no, before
turn
we,
the chair.
I am
Turn
being
the chair.
facetious.
No.
We
What is
lean
he
in
like?
here
Give us-
because
yes,
I
we're
am
very
moist.
excited.
I am in very moist anticipation of the reissue of Caligula Malcolm because I was too young to see it when it first came out.
Oh, good. Well,
I was on mother's
No.
knee.
Everything you can imagine, you imagine more.
But is it true that they're going to show the uncut version which shows everything in it?
knows?
Well, I mean, I'm very
the
intrigued by
uncut version,
this.
no, they added, the porno stuff was added 2 years later.
And you knew nothing about that?
Of course not. I mean, how would we? You
Wait, you thought you were doing a story of this,
No,
the great
of course
Caesar.
I knew it was fairly risque, but I didn't think it was going to be hardcore porn. My son comes up to me a couple of years ago and he goes, "Dad, you're in the porno section in the Blockbuster." I went, "Oh, I don't think so, Charlie. I don't think so." He went, "Oh yeah, everybody at school's had it, Dad. It's a hell of a good film. It's that Caligula." I went, Oh yes, well, let me explain. Forget it. You know, the kids, they could care less. But they added hardcore pornography a couple of years later.
Just take us back. Bob Guccione comes and says, "I'd like you to play Caligula."
No,
the man
no.
is the editor of Penthouse. You're not suspicious.
No,
He's thinking it's some costume drama like I Am Claudius.
no, wait a minute. I was called by Gore Vidal. Now, hey, that's
There's a
not...
bit of
Sure, you
class.
trust
All
him.
right,
Yeah.
that ain't
Take
chopped
that.
liver. Gore Vidal called me and said, "Malcolm, I want you to play. I've written a script about Caligula. It's a bit risque and stuff, but I want you to do it. Will you do it?" And I said, "Gore, if you're involved," and he had Peter O'Toole, John Gielgud,
Helen
that's where
Mirren.
and Helen. I actually brought Helen into it. God, I don't think she's ever forgiven me.
I
Anyway,
saw it.
so
I'll
Gore
tell you.
was, he was the one.
Who
the
cast
reason.
the donkey?
The donkey. Believe me. I mean, listen, you know, of course, one knew that it was quite risque. In fact, I read the script and I called him up. I said, "Gore, I can't, you know, it says Caligula, you know, at this wedding, he takes the bride and the groom and he has intercourse with the bride and then he you know, he has anal sex with the groom. I can't do that." He was, "Well, why not? Are you homophobic?" I said, "Good God, no, but I have the semblance of a career, Gore. I mean, I would like to, you know, be around a few years." He went, "Oh, don't be such a wet. I mean, come on. You can do a little buggery on the screen. Who cares? You're not actually going to be buggering." I went, no, but I mean, I really feel uncomfortable doing. So we had this great big argument about whether I was going to bugger or not.
Bugger or not to bugger. It's
Exactly.
another famous line.
So then the directors, who's very gay and camp and all that, was telling me about this place called is it the Anvil, Eddie, in New York or something?
Closed down many years ago.
Oh, sorry, darling.
We'll be going there in a few minutes.
We'll be going there, but not
Book that one, yeah.
Yeah, mark that one.
Anvil,
Anyway, he
Mine
says
Shaft, next.
he went to the Anvil, and where they were all, you know, and with the grease and up the arse. Well, I couldn't believe
Who was there? Come back to me. Oh, the director.
This is the producer.
Right.
Franco Rossellini.
Right.
I said, Franco? They were... My God, that's...
You
I was wide-eyed going, no, all the way up. My God, I've never heard of such a thing. But wait a minite.
Let's use it in the
I
film.
could do that in the film rather than buggery. Oh, my God. This is the out that I need. That'd be great.
You can
I found that to be more pleasing than the idea
Yes, I
of
did.
the buggery.
I did, because I didn't have to use my member.
I think it's oranges and lemons myself, but
Yeah.
So I say, well, let's do it in a kitchen, okay? We have to do it in a kitchen because I've got to have a big
I hope you wore
vat of...
gloves for this.
No, I have a big vat of grease.
It was a stunt arm.
So get this.
Yes,
so they
but I mean, a
cast
glove
this
is a-
Italian. The Italian boy is like 20. He's so beautiful, you've no idea, playing the groom, right? The girl is this actress and very pretty and all that. So the groom comes in and said, who's the kid? I mean, and I see this kid walking in with like 12 people, a retinue around him, and I go, my God, does this guy know he's going to be by me? I mean, he does know this, what's going to happen. And they went, well, we didn't actually tell him. He's not really an actor. It's the first time. I went, oh my God, please somebody explain what's going to happen, because I don't want to be held responsible.
He's in a masterpiece. Imagine his surprise.
Real,
A new game show.
I'm doing a big movie.
Yeah,
It's
What are you
Malcolm
playing?
McDowell.
yeah. And what are you playing?
I've got a scene with
A
Malcolm
glove.
McDowell.
So get this. In they come, right? Caligula comes in, the bride is the first, up on the table, in the kitchen, boom, 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 do the business. Then the lad grab hold of his hair, on the thing, over on the table, whipped the old costume off, came off in one shot. I, Caligula Caesar, in the name of the Senate and the people of Rome. Whoa, this good. Well, of course, I didn't actually do the business, but, you know,
Did he act it well?
he certainly acted it well. He was
First job, do you think?
Screaming, darling. I think he left the business after that. But the thing was that I had the seal of Caligula's seal, the ring.
It's on his pancreas now.
Anyway, of course, I bring my hand out and realize, I went, oh my God, I've lost my ring. Oh, there it is, stuck with all this stuff on it. Anyway, the poor man, that was the end of him.
It's a touching story.
And the end of many career. Hit the skids then.
Well, there was John Gielgud who loved it.
But Don Gielgud
right.
didn't know what was going on.
John, I think.
Peter O'Toole, yes?
Peter was very happy. And I'll tell you a very funny story of Peter, though, actually. He was doing night shooting. For 2 weeks night shooting, we'd get there at 6 at night, and we wouldn't get on the set until 4 in the morning, right? So we're all fairly happy. We've been having the odd drink and whatever. And
Shagging the odd slave girl.
I must smoke. This talk of
go on, get on with it.
sexual aberrations. I
So
have to-
out we come, and I'm holding on to Peter, you know, he's playing Tiberius, and we're going on, and there's a 3-acre set. You cannot believe what's going on. I mean, there
I saw
are
the
midgets doing it, there are lepers doing it.
Livestock. It was a scene of livestock
Anything,
debauchery.
donkeys, whatever. Of course, we hadn't seen this.
Is there any plot? Because I'm going to go and see it. But
Go
is there a
see it.
plot
I
to
don't
this
want to
movie?
ruin it for you.
All right. I've got some of the highlights of the
We
plot
come
already.
out, and Peter, he goes, Rome is but a city. And he goes, God, darling, what are they doing over there? They're doing the Irish jig. And sure enough, there'd be a man plunging on a swing.
Yes.
You know, in intercourse with some slave girl, legs splayed, the whole... I mean, it was staggering what was going on. Anyway, so Peter, he had to do this scene where he says to me, Caligula, do you think this man is drunk? And he's a slave, right? And I go, yes, my lord, I think... And he goes, more wine! And they stick a funnel down the poor man's thing, and then they pour this, you know, whole vat of wine, where we then go off around on our little walk, right, around all the porno stuff, and come back to him at the end of the scene, where then O'Toole, as Tiberius goes, Caligula, do you think this man is now drunk? And I go, oh, yes, my lord, yes, my lord. He goes, knife! Well, and he's swaying like this. It's now 4 or 5 in the morning, right? Swaying. I've got to get the knife into his hand. Now, that's a feat in itself. It's swaying so much. It's like, knife in his hand. Well, underneath his breastplate, they'd put this, it was like a beach ball stuffed with the innards of a chicken and wine and stuff like that, so that when he pierces this beach ball thing, all the innards and guts fall out, right? So Peter, he's got the knife, he goes up to the man, he's got the thing, he puts the knife underneath the breastplate, goes, dags him like this, the breastplate lifts up like this, the beach ball does not pierce, but hits the ground like boom, 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 boom. Everybody stares at it like it's a bomb ready to go off. There's 5,000 extras in this thing, all the Italian crew, they don't understand a word of what's going on. We all look at this thing that's on the floor. Peter looks up and with a great grin, of course, only O'Toole can do, and just goes, I think she's dropped her fucking handbag. Well, that's what Caligula was like. Believe me.
And
Wow.
did you go to the premiere?
No, darling, I did not go to the premiere. And the joke was...
Did the donkey go to the premiere? I'm sorry, but it was
Yeah,
a fabulous role.
Oh, God.
Did you think that that was like a turning point in your career?
But no one's career got harmed by that movie.
on the
You
down-
and John Gill
On the
could have
down,
gone
you've gone
sailing
down,
on.
you've gone up.
Oh, no. Listen, what do you do? You know, listen, it was fun. I had an enormous amount of fun from time to time.
Like after that, what kind of parts were you given after Caligula?
Well, nothing could quite get up to the
Past that.
stratosphere of Caligula.
But did like anybody say to you, Malcolm, you shouldn't have gone there?
No.
No.
Not really, no. I mean, you know, listen.
I mean, when you came out, like what was the last English film you did before you left for Hollywood? Was that Oh Lucky Man?
No.
What was
I
it?
did a film called Aces High, I think.
About?
The First World War Flying Corps.
I think I saw that too. And then what
Good film.
made you go to Hollywood?
I was invited
By?
by Warner Brothers to do a film called Time After Time. Fell in love with the leading lady of the film,
Mary Steenburgen?
Mary Steenburgen.
Look how I've researched this.
But close.
That's what
I'm
we're eating.
dyslexic.
Doesn't matter. I mean, anyway, married Mary. We had children there, so that really was the end of my career in England, because there I was
I mean,
with a
would there,
wife
have
and
been,
a
would
child.
there have been a career in England? You know, now, I mean,
Who knows?
that's,
Yes, I was offered.
do you ever go through that and think what would have happened if I stayed here? I don't know what.
No, I never do. I never do. You do what you have to do. I mean, frankly, I was so happy to be out of England. So
Because?
I just wanted to change. I found the country very stifling, and
Less so now. It's good to be back, but I think at the time you moved and...
It's great to be
showed
back.
off when
I
left,
love
it's
working
depressing
here.
to be here.
Yeah. Isn't it strange that now you do, you know, like now English films have found some kind of
Incredible
something.
right
yeah,
now.
without
Best-
being Rita Tushingham depressed where people hang themselves by a cord from the tea kettle.
I think this.
Well, that's
England's-
what films were. I thought
Yeah.
England was black and white when I first got here.
Yeah.
And everybody spoke like this.
Yeah.
Well, they still do.
They do, don't they?
Everyone's talking like that now
Everybody
over
talks
here.
like that, even the news. Hello, this is the BBC News.
That's the big difference, I think, about the England and America. People say, what's the difference? I say it's like placing a business call. You call someone in New York, it's very professional. You go, Ruby Wax, please. They go, she's in the meeting, we'll call her, she'll call you right back. Fine. Very simple, professional. You place a business call to England, and you get the following thing now. You go, hello, may I speak to Joe Schmo? And the secretary will go, sorry, she's got a bit of a jippy tummy, and she's gone to the toilet. Then she's got to go and get a Kit Kat and a cup of tea, and she'll be back in about 10 minutes. Okay. And you go, too much information.
Yeah.
I just wish to leave a message.
But it's the charm. I'm going to go to the bathroom now.
Wow, can I come too?
You can. You can do. Well, it's bad if we're all missing.
Where is the loo?
I don't know where it is.
And Ruby and guests will be back at their earliest convenience at 11:20 tomorrow night. Next year on BBC2, Family Matters for George in Seinfeld.